Good afternoon, Off the Bench Sports family. We have a special guest here on location. It's late night. This is our first. This is a first for Off the Bench Sports, man, and we're here. This is not a better first to have than with a legend, a Hall of Famer, a guy that did it and did it his way, and didn't make no balls about doing it his way. And he didn't care if you liked it, but he's a great guy, great coach. Please welcome to Off the Bench Sports Network, head coach for Grand Isle High School, Coach Denny Wright. What's up, Coach?
Well, I appreciate you coming. A lot of nice words there, and you're right. You're off the beaten path to come to Grand Isle. Ain't no doubt about it. But that's what it is. You're down here where there's nowhere else to go but the Gulf of Mexico. So you can turn around and go home, or you can stick around a while. And I'm glad you're here.
Hey, it is. This is my first time being. This is the end of the earth.
This is the end of it's the end of Louisiana.
Right.
That's for sure. Right here, Highway 1.
And so for me, when I come down here and you can smell the ocean,
Oh yeah.
and you can you see everything is on stilts.
Very true.
It's definitely a different culture, and it's kind of like for a guy like me who's from North Louisiana, it's a big shock. Like it's like something you've never seen before, where everything is off the ground.
Yeah, it's because over time the hurricanes, especially Katrina, and the insurance and all like that, they've made people build up. But you're right, Grand Isle in the last 10, 15 years has gone from a lot of just camp owners and things of that nature. Now there's some beautiful. I know you're here at the evening, but you can get by in the daytime. You got some absolute gorgeous camps and people who live here, as well as come down for the long weekends or during the holidays and such. So it's right on the beach. You're about 200 yards from the beach. That's why you smell that good salt air.
Yeah. So it's some people that don't know you. I have a lot of young viewers.
Sure.
Give us a little background about who Denny Wright is.
Well, as far as experience in the game, I guess I'm somewhere in the 45 plus years. I did about 20 odd years in college coaching. Now I've got 20 plus in high school coaching, and did a little scouting in between. And I would be honest with you, I've coached on every bench all the way to the NBA Summer League that was out in California where it started years ago in the 80s, and except for a real NBA bench. So kind of got some experience, been around, whatever that means. Just been at it a long time.
When we met, you were at Plaquemine High School.
Right.
You were a Green Devil. I was a young basketball official with Baton Rouge area basketball officials. You got on my butt a couple of times. And since then, we've been like peas and carrots, man. Everywhere we see each other, whoever sees each other's first, the other one is definitely coming and speak. That's a great sign of mutual respect.
Sir. No doubt about it.
Again, I watch you coach some very good, very tough, hard-nosed Plaquemine teams. Tell us what has, you've done everything. Why? Why?
Well, I mean, just have a passion for the game, like any coach, and then you stay with it. I have, I know we talked about Kenny Allman earlier, and we have a saying, the situation makes it, as well as good players, makes a good program. But you got to have a passion for it. And I think all coaches, especially if you stay with it for a number of years, you just got that passion. And like a guy on the beach one time, I got a golf cart that says coach on one side. He stopped me and we got to talking, and I asked him when he was coaching, his football guy, and he said something. He said, his wife stepped up and said, well, I quit coaching because she wouldn't move. And my wife said, when he says we pack, we go. So you got to have a good wife, you got to have a good family, which I do, who has stayed with the coaching, and it's just part of me. And then when one day wakes up and I think I've had enough of it, then that'll be the day. But or I can't do something to help young people get better, not only on the floor but like all coaches, we want to make them better people off the court, be responsible, be disciplined, and get a good education, and that's what we try to do. But and again, we try to make them very competitive on the court, and as you witnessed, officiating several of my teams over the time at Plaquemine, I had some great kids there that just played their little tail off, worked hard, and that's why we were competitive, because they were competitors.
Right. You're here at Grand Isle now. From my understanding, you've been here roughly 10 years.
Going on my 9th year.
Okay. Tell us about Grand Isle basketball, man.
Well, when I first got here a little late, but we got here, and I had the mayor's son and a couple other local guys, and so we kind of got off to a slow start. But they, over time, they bought in, and they were seniors, and I wish I would have had them earlier. But so we kind of set, but they did. They established a program that the thing that probably happens in every program, you got to convince the young people and their families, we're going to have to practice, you know. And I had a saying where always in Plaquemine, we're going to practice 363 days, and not only 2 days we'll never practice is Easter and Christmas. Now, I don't know, we never practiced 363, but we knew 2 days we weren't going to practice.
Right.
We're going to put the time into it. We're going to do a lot of things to hopefully build a program and build that young player. And that's what we've been doing here since that 8+ years ago. We've had a couple nice runs. Obviously, I don't know if a lot of people know in your viewing area, whatever, we are, I think, right now between the 3rd and 4th smallest school in the state of Louisiana.
Okay.
We have less than 20 high school boys, and so we play with a lot of young kids, middle school kids, and we play with small class. I mean, our senior class this year in regular high school was only 9 graduates.
Oh, wow.
So we deal with that, but and the thing here that about Grand Isle is you got to travel, and it's as you just saw coming down here, we got to go to Houma, we got to go to New Orleans, we got to go to Baton Rouge to play games, and so that's a challenge, and it takes a lot of dedication on behalf of really the players to make, because everything is 2.5, 3 hours away. So, but I've been fortunate. I've had some good guys over different times. I had good teams. This past year, we've gone all the way to the quarterfinals. Before, in fact, up there in North Louisiana to Summerfield, where you don't come out alive too often up there, but they have a great program. But we've been to the playoffs. We've had some good runs. District championships at different times with different players. This past year, I had a young man who was one of the better guards in the state. I really think he could have played with a whole bunch of people who signed with Delta State, a Division II school, Brandon McCurley, and right now, at this point in time in the history of Grand Isle, he's the only 3rd basketball player to ever sign a scholarship.
That was going to be one of my questions, Coach. How hard is it for you to find home games?
Well, when I first got here, I told people when we talked, it's hard, but I told people that I said, I'll come play you, but you got to come play me. So the 2 things we've done here is if you'll say yes, then you come to me first, because I had that burn on me early, and I'll come to you. And so over that, I've been able to balance it that way. Plus, after the first year here, I started a tournament called Hoops on the Isle, and the mayor, David Carmerdale, and the Jefferson Parish and some other folks over time have been able to help us, because it's a tourism. We bring in about 5 different girls and boys, and ours, we bring in between 4 and 6 teams, and we house them, we'll feed them, we play like a Friday and then a doubleheader on Saturday for everybody, a lot of basketball. So in the end of it, it gives us 3 home games. So I've been able to be on the plus side the last couple of years, but it's not easy. But I got to tell them we're going to give them a bucket of shrimp on the way out of town.
Hey, so one of the great pluses is that maybe you can start utilizing is because you have the golf right in your backyard. If you come and play us here at Grand Isle at the end of the night, we're gonna feed you a great big shrimp basket with shrimp and fries, and
that does happen. Excuse me, that does happen, and that's what the Hoops on the Isle. We've had so many teams that's used this as a retreat. They come in here, stay a couple nights, go on the beach, walk the beach. They've never been to Grand Isle, and that's why Jefferson Parish they sponsor us along with the mayor because it's tourism,
Right.
and it brings people in December. It brings people to the island that maybe have never seen it and come back, and they've come back and rented camps and had family vacations from Gonzales. I've had the Santa Maria girls teams here.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Awesome.
we've had teams from North Louisiana. We had a good assortment this year from Lafayette. We got ESA coming in. So we've had a good time with it. That gives us 3 games, gives us a chance to have 3 home games. But overall, that's how you just got to work at it. It's not easy, but you got to work at it.
You've been in the game. You said 25 plus years or more. You built a lot of great relationships with coaches. You've coached a lot of guys, a lot of dudes. You've seen a lot of dudes.
Oh, yeah.
Before the last couple of years, I see you at the top 28 on the boys' side every year, unless something is going on. What are some of the best relationships you've built out of basketball in the state of Louisiana?
Well, I think with coaches, like I mentioned earlier, it goes way back when I was in college. Kenny Allman became a really close friend, has helped me tremendously in the game when I decided to get into high school. Butch Stockton down at Chalmette, who's been in the high school game forever. We had a relationship back when I was at South Alabama. I was able to give him an opportunity to come over there. You talk about around Lafayette. I know you're with down here at the camp with Brad Boyd.
Right.
Brad played with my youngest son played with that team back in them, him and that group, Moton and them. And so Coach Denny and at STM and Lafayette people. I lived in Lake Charles. I coached at McNeese, and then I started high school basketball at Sam Houston.
Okay.
So the Lafarges and the Kleins at Barb and the people over there at McNeese that I worked with. It just goes on and on all through the state. I tell sometimes I probably traveled every road, either recruiting or playing ball, basketball. I probably traveled almost every road in the state of Louisiana, and gone by most towns. I mean, Louisiana. I always said Louisiana is just a great basketball state. It always has been.
Right.
And it's just over the last 20, 30 years, it's flourished quite a bit. And I go back to recruiting Carl Malone and Joe Dumars and all those guys when I was at Mississippi State. Was able to coach Joe over at McNeese, and a young man around there named Scooby Harmon, Harmon family out of Rain, tremendous basketball piece. So it just kind of goes everywhere. Baton Rouge was a great run. Met some good coaches and friends down here this way. It's just been good. Got a lot of friends in the business. Got a lot of people that we've worked and played and been very competitive. But both players. I still, like Scooby was a player of mine. He calls all the time, and we just lost the passing of a young man that was a very good player you might know of, Ronald Cox, over at Meade. He passed away. He played for us over there at McNeese. And so, you lose guys like that, and just tremendous young people as far as that time. And you just don't ever know where, like tonight you coming here and Brad Boyd, who I know from time back, as I said, and others, you just never know where you're going to come across good people.
Right. Hey, I'm going to ask you this, and it has nothing to do with high school basketball, but it's something that's important to me, and so I'm going to ask you.
Go ahead.
You have a son, Wright.
Yes, sir.
That's a college basketball coach. What did that mean to you when he followed in your footsteps and became a a coach?
Well, it was special. It was real special. I didn't tell him he had to get in it, but because it was his own call after he went to college and played college ball. But he took his own path with it, and he's made his path on his own. I've always been around to try to support him best I could, but it does mean special to him, and obviously to me and his mom and his younger brother. We follow Northeast Tiger basketball tremendously. We try to, a lot of what you mentioned about the top 28. If I'm not at the top 28, I'm at the regionals watching them play. And so the toughest thing to do is to watch your sons play, and the other toughest thing to do is watch them coach.
Right.
And so it's a pleasure when the game's over and they got the W. But because of the social media, we're able to watch games down here. And I know your son's going to play for him, and we're excited about that. Cord loves and he appreciates Louisiana basketball just like I do. And so he's always tried to stick his hand back in here and try to grab good players like your son. And so I'm just looking forward to good things happen with him and Northeast in the next couple of years. But
we are.
No, yeah, that's exactly. We are. That's exactly. But we're proud of him. There's no doubt about it. He's cut his path, and we're following it.
What's the best advice that you not only given to Cord, but to other young coaches who, and I know you've met a lot of guys in the coaching realm. What's the best advice you've given?
Well, and it just depends on what you want. If you want to get into college, then you've got to work. You got to work and expose yourself to camps and schools, over time. As far as that's what Cord did. I sent him to all kind of camps when he was young. So he met some people that helped him in the business down the line. He got a chance. Bobby Champagne gave him a chance over there as a grad assistant at North Alabama, and that was a big. He knew Bobby well. Bobby gave him an opportunity, and then from there he grew at North Alabama, and got it. Went around in the state of Louisiana, Monroe, and then back to Northeast. I think the best advice you can give somebody is you got to go. You got to go want to expose yourself, learn, and decide what you and your family want.
Right.
You got to decide, because coaching in college is different. A lot of people think it's a bed of roses sometimes, but there's a lot of times away from your family.
Right.
And as I was when Cord and Judd and my wife and everything, it was a lot of times away from them.
Right.
But and in high school, it's just a lot of time you got to put into it if you want to be good.
Right.
You're not going to put in just a couple hours after practice.
Right.
You're going to school. You're going to have to put in a lot of time, scouting and working and really kind of helping tutor young people as they grow and mature. And so the best advice is whatever you want to do, get yourself around the best people you can. The best people that can help you, teach you the game, and also has great values in the game. And that'll carry you a long way. And again today, and really the whole thing, the whole educational thing has changed so much that you gotta make sure that you set yourself a good foundation academically. But I just think you got to expose yourself to the right people,
Right.
And stay with it. Stay
right.
with it.
Let's do a rapid fire real quick.
All right.
I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, and you give me the first answer that comes to your mind. Favorite game you coached?
South Alabama, versus Alabama, 1989. The shot that rolled the tide when Jeff Hodge hit the shot. And we got back on defense and stopped Robert Horry from scoring, and we advanced to the second round of the NCAA.
Favorite kids you've coached?
That's a tough one now.
Hey, let me have it.
Well, I have to say, at the end of the day, because he's like a son to ours, is Gerard Scooby Harmon,
Okay.
who have long-lasting relationship with him. So many others, I hate to say one, but we still have a close, almost like father-son, mother-son relationship with Scoob.
The first thing you do when you walk into a gym for the first time?
First thing I do is walk into a gym on a job.
If you're going to play a game and it's the first time you've been to that gym, what's the first thing that you do?
I'm gonna look around and see the surroundings, see what kind of floor they got, check everything out, see where the crowds are, just kind of just oversee the logistics of it. Make sure you let our guys know what we need to do to prepare. It's going to be a rowdy crowd. It's going to be close seating. What kind of rims that we might have. The whole logistics.
When do you walk away?
From the game?
From the game.
When it's not important no more.
Oh, wow. That may be 10 years from now. Thank you. Thank you and Miss Wright for inviting me into your home so late. I want to thank Cord. Cord, thank you for hooking me up with your dad. Parting shouts. Go.
Oh, just to all Louisiana basketball that you touch base with. Honor and love the game. Stay with it, and always keep the hoops in the mind.
No doubt. So shout out to Grand Isle High School. Shout out to the Grand Isle community. Shout out to you, Coach Wright. Always love here, man. No matter what, I love you. thank you. Remember, get off the bench, get into the game.